All right, we are learning new shocking details about the suspected MS-13 gang member Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was deported to El Salvador famously.
Griff Jenkins joins us right now from Washington with the latest details. Griff, we've heard, he was never charged with anything. He was never, there's a lot we don't know, but we're piecing it together slowly.
Well, that's right, Steve. Ainsley, Brian, good morning. We're learning more about the Maryland man. Remember that Democrats are rallying around. Here it is. DHS sources confirming to Fox Digital that suspected MS-13 gang member Kilmar Abrego Garcia was driving an SUV belonging to a confessed human smuggler when he was pulled over in Tennessee in 2022. He was stopped for speeding, but according to the trooper, he allegedly, quote, pretended to speak less English than he was capable of and attempted to put encountering officer off track by responding to questions with questions. Abrego Garcia, though, was ultimately released with a warning for driving with an expired license. It comes as a battle is waging over his deportation to El Salvador last month, with legal questions over his due process, which drug czar Tom Homan is vigorously defending.
2 federal judges issued an order of removal. He has an order of removal. He is home. We removed the gang member, terrorist, white beater from this country because the court ordered him deported. So I keep saying this, the best that can happen for him, Sean, is he does come back to the United States, we detain him immediately, and we immediately remove him.
Meanwhile, out in New Mexico, Judge Joel Cano resigned last month without explanation after a suspected Tren de Aragua TDA gang member who had allegedly been living on the judge's property was arrested. Now, according to court documents, this guy, Christian Ortega Lopez, had been doing odd jobs for Cano's wife before being offered lodging in the couple's casita following his eviction from an El Paso apartment. Now, during his stay, he apparently became acquainted with the judge's daughter, who allegedly allowed him to handle her firearms. And finally, speaking of TDA, the Justice Department announced yesterday they have indicted a high-ranking TDA gang member in custody in Colombia in the first case of charging a TDA gang member with terrorism-related crimes. Attorney General Bondi says it's an inflection point in just how serious this administration is after going after that foreign terrorist organization. Brian, Ainsley, and Steve?
So, Griff, they're looking at the TDA, and now they're saying that Maduro sent them here to create havoc and to hunt down other Venezuelans that were disloyal to Maduro. Is there proof of that type of organization?
That's a great question, Brian, because for the first time we heard FBI Director Kash Patel say publicly that he believes TDA is the, quote, violent arm of the Maduro regime. Now, we don't know exactly what connection the two have, and we don't have people down in Venezuela that's working on that, but clearly this administration has been looking into it, and hopefully we'll learn a little bit more about that. That would be quite a significant alliance.
Yeah, and backing up to a little bit about, you were talking about the TDA member was living essentially on the property of that judge. It's shocking because you would think that the judge would do a background check. Did the judge know he was a gang member, or he just thought, okay, he's very handy and I need somebody?
We simply don't know that, Steve. And, it appears, in all we have to look at, we don't know why the judge resigned last month, but clearly it could possibly be the case that he was dealing with the rest of this TDA gang member. But it appears that he ended up doing these odd jobs for the judge's wife. The judge seemed to bring him in and put him in this casita, a little house on the property. But ultimately, the authorities realized that this guy was illegally in the country, came, arrested him, and apparently was in possession of some firearms. Unclear whose firearms he was in possession of.
She thought he was Cato Kalin.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. Thank you so much.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.